Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever noticed how some women stand alone, not because they want to, but because the people around them don't match the depth of their soul? Society tells us we need crowds, constant companionship, and endless social validation to feel complete. But what if I told you that a woman who walks alone isn't lonely, she's powerful? Today, we'll uncover the rare strength, wisdom, and freedom that come from embracing solitude. Stay with me because this journey will change how you see independence forever. 1. The myth of loneliness versus the reality of strength. The fear of solitude is deeply rooted in human psychology, a primal echo from eras when survival depended on tribal bonds. Yet modern society's conflation of alone with lonely overlooks the transformative potential of solitude. Research from the University of California reveals that moments of isolation activate the brain's default mode network, sparking introspection and innovation. For instance, a 2018 study found that participants who spent 45 minutes daily in solitude for a month reported heightened creativity and clarity, with MRI scans showing increased neural connectivity in regions linked to problem solving. Historically, women like Frida Kahlo turned isolation into artistry. Her physical solitude post-accident birthed surreal masterpieces that transcended pain, proving solitude can be a crucible for genius. Similarly, Rosa Parks' refusal to surrender her seat wasn't a spontaneous act, but a quiet resolve forged in years of navigating systemic oppression alone. Her stillness in the face of injustice became a seismic force. Solitude, then, isn't a void, it's the soil where self-trust grows. It allows women to distinguish societal noise from inner truth, cultivating a resilience that doesn't merely endure but thrives. 2. Quality over quantity, the hidden truth about relationships. Human connection is a cornerstone of well-being, yet the myth of more is better distorts its essence. Robin Dunbar, an evolutionary anthropologist, posited that cognitive limits cap meaningful relationships at 150 Dunbar's number, with only 5-10 slots reserved for intimate bonds. This isn't a deficit, but a design. A woman who prioritizes depth over breadth isn't lonely, she's discerning. Consider the paradox of social media. Instagram profiles flaunting thousands of followers often correlate with higher loneliness scores, as per a 2020 University of Pennsylvania study. Scrolling breeds comparison, while a single heart-to-heart conversation releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone, fostering genuine calm. Historical figures like Virginia Woolf championed this ethos. Her close-knit Bloomsbury group provided intellectual kinship without sacrificing solitude. Modern women rejecting superficial networks aren't withdrawing, they're reclaiming intimacy. By investing in relationships that mirror mutual respect and vulnerability, they bypass transactional interactions, creating a sanctuary of trust that mass connections can't replicate. 3. The unshakable confidence of self-sufficiency. Self-reliance isn't a rejection of community, but a declaration of competence. Neuroscientist Richard Davidson's work highlights that overcoming adversity alone strengthens the prefrontal cortex, enhancing emotional regulation and strategic thinking. When a woman navigates a crisis independently, whether negotiating a career pivot or rebuilding after loss, she reinforces her agency. This isn't arrogance, but a grounded, learned optimism, as psychologist Martin Seligman terms it. Consider Malala Yousafzai, whose advocacy began as a solitary blog under Taliban threats. Her self-sufficiency wasn't born of isolation, but a choice to act when collective courage faltered. Such women redefine strength. They seek help strategically, but don't hinge their identity on external validation. Their confidence is a muscle honed by experience, allowing them to pivot without panic. This resilience isn't innate, it's cultivated. Studies on Grit by Angela Duckworth show that individuals who embrace challenges solo develop tenacity, viewing setbacks as solvable puzzles, not personal failures. In a world quick to label independence as coldness, these women embody a quieter truth. The power to stand alone is the ultimate liberation. 4. Emotional resilience, the secret weapon. Alone, she confronts the raw edges of her emotions without distraction, learning to sit with discomfort rather than numb it. Psychology underscores that solitude isn't escapism. It's a training ground for emotional agility. Studies show that individuals who spend time alone develop stronger neural pathways for regulating stress as the brain adapts to processing emotions internally. She doesn't suppress sadness or fear. She observes them, names them, and lets them pass like clouds. Over time, this practice dismantles her reliance on external validation, a habit many cling to as a crutch. Her resilience is forged in moments of quiet introspection, journaling through heartbreak, meditating during anxiety storm, or simply breathing through loneliness. Unlike those who drown their pain in social media likes or fleeting distractions, she faces her vulnerabilities head on. Research from the University of California reveals that solitude reduces cortisol levels, the hormone tied to chronic stress, allowing her to emerge calmer and more centered. She becomes a paradox in a world addicted to instant fixes unshaken, not because life hasn't hurt her, but because she's mastered the art of healing herself. This self-reliance isn't coldness, it's clarity. She knows rejection doesn't define her worth, failure isn't permanent, and joy isn't contingent on others. When grief arrives, she doesn't rush to move on, but honors her process. Her emotional resilience becomes a superpower, letting her navigate life's chaos with steadiness. While others oscillate between euphoria and despair based on external circumstances, she remains anchored. Her secret, solitude, taught her that emotions are temporary guests, not permanent residents. By mastering her inner world, she becomes untouchable, a force immune to the drama and instability that fractures emotionally dependent minds. 5. The art of setting boundaries. Solitude teaches her the radical act of saying no without guilt. In a culture that conflates busyness with value, she rejects the expectation to be endlessly available. Boundaries, she realizes, aren't barriers, they're the architecture of self-respect. Early on, solitude exposed her to the discomfort of loneliness, but it also revealed who truly deserved her energy. Toxic relationships, once masked by familiarity, now stand out like weeds in a garden she's tending fiercely. She removes them without hesitation, knowing that pruning allows growth. Her boundaries extend beyond relationships. She declines projects that drain her creativity, avoids small talk that feels transactional, and shields her time like a precious resource. A Harvard Business Review study found that people who set clear boundaries experience 30% lower burnout rates, a truth she embodies. When colleagues push for overtime, she cites her non-negotiable self-care rituals. When friends expect emotional labor she can't give, she communicates her limits with calm precision. The skill becomes revolutionary in a world that glorifies martyrdom. She refuses to apologize for prioritizing her peace, even as society labels her selfish. Solitude taught her that energy vampires, those who thrive on drama or negativity, drain life from those who let them. By filtering her interactions, she creates space for relationships rooted in mutual respect, not obligation. Her boundaries also redefine her relationship with herself. She no longer conflates productivity with identity, allowing rest without justification. When loneliness whispers insecurities, she responds with self-compassion, not overcommitment. This self-guardedness isn't rigidity, it's discernment. She understands that every yes to others is a no to herself, and she chooses alignment over approval. In doing so, she becomes a paradox. The more she protects her energy, the more she has to give when it truly matters. 6. Trusting her instincts, the ultimate superpower. Without the noise of crowds, her intuition sharpens into a compass. Solitude strips away the static of others' opinions, allowing her to hear the quiet voice within a voice often drowned out in groupthink. Neuroscience explains this phenomenon. The brain's prefrontal cortex, responsible for decision-making, functions more clearly without external input, enhancing her ability to trust the gut. She learns to distinguish instinct from fear, recognizing that true intuition arrives with a sense of calm certainty, not panic. Her decisiveness becomes legendary. Where others agonize over options, she acts swiftly, guided by an internal GPS honed through years of introspection. A Stanford study found that individuals who spend time alone make decisions 20% faster than those reliant on consensus, a statistic she embodies. When faced with a career pivot, she doesn't seek endless advice. She reflects, then leaps. When a relationship feels misaligned, she walks away before justifying red flags. Her confidence isn't arrogance, it's earned through countless moments of solitude where she practiced listening. This trust in self transforms her life. She stops seeking permission to pursue her ambitions, launching a business at 40 despite naysayers. She moves to a new city on a whim, guided by a feeling that the change will nourish her soul. Others call it luck. She knows it's the culmination of years spent tuning out doubt. Her instincts aren't infallible, but she treats missteps as data, not failures. The world, obsessed with logic and overanalysis, often dismisses intuition as irrational. Yet her track record speaks volumes. While peers second guess career choices or romantic partners, she navigates life with a rare clarity. Solitude taught her that the loudest voices, media, family, society, are often the least aligned with her truth. By silencing them, she taps into a primal wisdom older than humanity itself. In trusting herself, she becomes unstoppable, a woman whose instincts are her sword and shield. 7. The freedom of living authentically. She sheds societal scripts like outdated clothes. No longer bound by expectations to marry by 30, chase corporate ladders, or fake laughter at parties, she redefines success on her terms. Solitude, her mirror, reflects who she is without filters, a mosaic of contradictions, passions, and quiet strengths. Research from the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology links solitude to heightened self-awareness, a trait that fuels her authenticity. She doesn't need applause for her choices. The validation comes from within. Her rebellion is subtle but seismic. She refuses to smile when she's hurting, to nod in agreement when she disagrees. Friends label her blunt, but she sees it as integrity. In meetings, she challenges norms without apology. In relationships, she states her needs without codependency. A University of Rochester study found that living authentically reduces long-term anxiety, a truth she embodies. Her mental clarity stems from aligning actions with values, not pretending to fit molds. This freedom isn't easy. Society rewards conformity, and her defiance draws criticism. "Why don't you settle down?" relatives ask. "You're too serious," coworkers mutter. But solitude taught her that external judgment often masks others' insecurities. She pities those trapped in performative lives, trading their truth for acceptance. Instead, she embraces the discomfort of being misunderstood, knowing authenticity is a form of courage. Her lifestyle becomes a manifesto. She spends weekends hiking instead of scrolling, evenings reading instead of people pleasing. She celebrates her quirks the way she dances badly in her kitchen, writes poetry no one reads, or spends hours sketching strangers in cafes. These acts aren't vanity, they're declarations of self-acceptance. In a world that sells happiness through conformity, she crafts her own narrative, one where joy is found in living deliberately, not desperately. By rejecting scripts, she discovers boundless creativity. Her art, writing, and career thrive because they're fueled by passion, not trends. She becomes a magnet for kindred spirits, those who crave depth over pretense. Her authenticity isn't just personal liberation, it's a ripple effect, inspiring others to shed their masks. In solitude, she found herself, and in doing so, she redefined what it means to be free. Conclusion. Walking alone isn't a curse, it's a masterclass in self-mastery. A woman who thrives in solitude isn't waiting for a hero. She is the hero of her story. She doesn't need a crowd to feel alive. Her own presence is enough. If you take one thing from this, let it be this: solitude is where the strongest women are forged. Thank you for your time and attention. You're investing in wisdom that most people ignore. If this resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Subscribe to this channel for more truths that empower and elevate. Remember, the rarest diamonds are formed under pressure, and so are you. Stay strong, stay independent, and keep walking your path, even if you walk it alone.